Hi, everybody. My name is Tanner Kluger, and I will be doing project group number 6's report this week. And just for a brief clarification, we are the one doing the Firebot. So without further ado, let's get into it. So some of the meeting notes I took from this week. First, we decided to order all of our parts this week. We got a lot of them from Amazon. All in all, I think it cost us about $150. Additionally, we were able to make a progress chart instead of Jira. So one thing we found out is that Jira is really complicated and not exactly tuned for what we want to do. A simple progress chart was a lot easier for us to use. We did that on Excel, and I'll show you a little bit more about how we did that later. Additionally, we were able to assemble the microcontroller and get a super brief outline of what that was going to look like. So that way we can have some code before our parts actually came in. And then finally, we were able to write the first section of our final report and look at some impacts of the design. So this week, I was able to assign tasks for each different group member, just a preliminary start of tasks. The reason that we chose to do this was because, as I said before, Jira can be really clunky, and it's really good for companies that are on different sides of the United States, for example, but for a team that's meeting twice a week in the same room, it has a lot less impact. Something as simple as an Excel doc would work just as well, which is exactly what we did. So as you can see here, we had the problem that started it all off, the person that was going to tackle it, the status of what that was, so whether or not they actually had it done or in progress or not even started yet, what their original solution to the problem was, what they ended up actually doing, and then the results of how they solved that. And finally, the date that they started and the date that they ended it. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. And we have a bunch of different problems already that we can go ahead and try and start solving as we continue. The other thing that we got done this week was that we worked on the microcontroller. Mike was gracious enough to start that process going. And it was super brief right now, just tinkering with like blink and button programs. But the main goal of this is that we had some code running, so that way when we had our parts come in on Tuesday of next week, we could actually do something with them. So that was able to get going for us. The next thing that we did was work on the report, specifically section 1, which is the design considerations that went into building the machine or the robot. The first one that we had to look at was public health, safety, and welfare. And obviously, fires are super detrimental to public health. Fires run rampant across the US, take many lives, including firefighters and civilians alike. Additionally, there's a lot of cultural and societal factors that go into fires, specifically wildfires, as they can destroy a lot of different parts about society, including farmland and non-rural areas, and then also have a huge cultural impact as they can destroy some pretty important wildlife as well. The global environmental and economic factors are massive. Just alone in California in 2018, the damage done by wildfires was $148.5 billion. So that's pretty massive. And then the last thing that we did was we planned for a follow-up meeting. Since all the parts are planning on coming in next week, Tuesday, we decided that we're going to meet that day to review all the parts that came in and start a build process. And then just as like a little sneak peek, this is the chassis that we went with. So as you can see, it's got tank tracks and it's already got the base pre-installed. So it's going to be a lot easier to program. That's got a ton of room for us to install parts on there. And then it's already got a bunch of different slots where we can include all of our mechanisms up top. So that's pretty much all we got this week. Stay tuned to see more progress.